welcome to BTF for what is today? Veterans Day, Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
It's a chilly Veterans Day.
It's cold out there. Sunshine is nice, but it's cold. We got some snow last night too in some spots.
Jeff and I wore the WAVY winter coats. I wore my winter coat for the first time.
Yep, first time of the year for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was. It's very cold. I did put mine in the car, but I didn't wear it today.
Good to have it as a backup in the car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. I was out doing a shoot yesterday, and I didn't have that one with me, and it was getting already chilly yesterday, and I was like, I probably should throw this one in the car and have it there as a good backup.
I always, even if let's say I'm going for a long car ride or I'm going to be just a short car ride, I always have the clothing with me in case there's a breakdown or a flat tire and I'm stuck. Mm-hmm. Then you at least have the proper clothing to stand outside the car, wait for the tow, get towed.
Yep.
You want to be comfortable.
Right. If you're out there for long periods of time, too.
Yeah,
that
you
would
never
stink.
know.
Oh, yeah. No, tow trucks, they take a while to get there. I know I had that happen a couple of years ago. It was like in the middle of winter. And I mean, I had a jacket, but it wasn't like warm enough to withstand standing outside for an hour and a half until they got there.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we had some snow though. We had some viewers send in some photos of the snow that they got last night. It was what we thought.
A solid dusting, though, for a few spots.
Yeah, solid dusting on elevated surfaces, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some areas had it on the grass.
On
you
the
can see
grass.
on that shrub right there too, and on the toys and on the grill. A little bit of snow collected on there. I didn't get the snow to collect on any surfaces in my area.
Ooh, that's a good shot.
I did have an icy back deck though this morning.
Oh, you did?
So that was frozen over.
Okay.
But I mean, look at that. That's
cool.
decent.
Yeah, that was in Red Mill, and then we've got another one. Just some snow flurries, some flakes fluttering through the sky here in Elizabeth City. I didn't see anything at my house.
Okay.
Looked like maybe a couple of the cars that were parked on the street that had been sitting there for a long period of time throughout, like yesterday even. They had a little bit on the top. It just looked like a little bit of ice, but that was about it. I didn't really see anything in my neighborhood.
Yeah, it was light in my neighborhood too. I went outside around 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, and saw that the snow was coming down, kind of like how it's pictured in there in Elizabeth City. It wasn't that heavy, certainly. It was pretty sparse, and I was trying to figure out, because we talked about it yesterday, what kind of snowflake is it? Couldn't figure it out because they were clumped together,
Right.
and I couldn't get
snowflake
the
types.
snowflakes separated. My guess, I think it was close to dendrites. I did see a couple of spikes coming off of a few of them. It could have been a
Okay.
plate or a stellar plate. It was not needles or columns, though. I know that from
Huh.
what I saw.
So it was
Okay.
cold. It was
was
cold
cold.
up there.
Yeah.
It was loud.
Yep.
I would say, because I saw a couple of them, but I didn't, like you said, I didn't really get like a good view of them, and it looked like it was more of a plate. Whether that's probably a stellar plate would be maybe my guess.
I would think a stellar plate. It was really hard because mine were
yeah.
clumped, so you can't identify clumps.
Were you trying to,
Yeah.
put the glove on and catch them and kind of look close to see?
No, I was tracking them as they were falling
You
down.
were tracking them as
No, not that good. No,
It's got snowflake vision.
Like I was gonna say, your vision's incredible if that's the case.
Yeah, no, it was. They were laying on top of my grill cover, and they were taking a while to
Okay,
melt.
yeah.
So I used that as kind of my plate, my template. I didn't have anything outside that was cold enough to really identify, and I wasn't gonna go looking for gloves because I just
Yeah, for those
I mean-
for those who don't know, the glove technique does work pretty well though.
Yeah, it works
You
well.
obviously have to, set the glove maybe outside for a couple minutes before you start doing it, just because you
Yeah.
gotta make sure that the temperature of the surface of the glove is the same as the air, so that it doesn't melt on contact. Like if you put your glove near a fireplace and then go outside and try to catch snowflakes, you're not gonna get much because it's gonna melt it right instantly.
You know what I should have done, and I just realized that I should have put a cookie sheet in the freezer.
Oh, that could
And then slide that out, and then
yeah.
there's
With the-
my sample tray.
There you go.
Samples,
The black,
samples.
You can go a step further. Yeah, you can go a step further. The black piece of paper too. Really get a good look at them.
Yeah, because you want it to be dark.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any black.
Now, like the cardboard paper.
Yeah, why do you have
I've
that?
done that before. I've done that before
Yeah.
in
Like you-
third grade
Yeah,
science
I was
class.
gonna say, like, okay, wait a minute.
It was always so much
Construction
fun.
paper, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
That's what it's
construction
called.
paper.
Yeah, construction paper.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get a ream of construction paper for the weather center.
We'll have to do
There
an
you go.
experiment.
We'll see if we
one of
ask
these
the boss to
storms.
see if we can get that expense.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that probably wouldn't cost too much. You should be able to get that, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how much. I never shopped for construction paper, so
I mean, I haven't for many years, but I remember it wasn't that expensive back in the day.
if I search for it on my phone, then my algorithm's gonna be all messed
It's essentially
up,
just
so-
normal paper plus. Like it's the
Yeah.
plus version of normal paper.
It's thicker.
Yeah.
Then print your paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
have you
good
ever tried
arts
putting-
it's good arts and crafts if you're like cutting shapes or something. It's good paper for that.
You ever try putting it in a printer and then jamming the printer, and then the person that's in charge gets all angry? Who put this in there?
No.
Jeff, you're a
Have
wild
you done
guy.
that? That sounds
He's
like
I'm menacing activities
Yeah.
that Jeff is up to.
sounds like personal experience there.
I was gonna say
No comment.
no comment.
Yeah, but back to the snow, our little tangent of the day, right? So here is kind of
Ooh.
the time lapse on our radar of what
see
we
this
saw. Yeah, so we were talking about it was going to be a mix, obviously. So it did start off with some rain up north, and then it eventually made that changeover into snow. Kind of happened more so after midnight, really, where you were seeing some of that snow moving in. And there it is early in the morning, about 4 to 5 a.m., seeing some of those good bands of
I had some steady rainfall at my place in Virginia Beach for most of that evening. I just remember going to bed and just hearing the rain hitting the roof, and I'm just like,
yeah.
like this is
Yeah.
gonna be this is gonna make it really hard for this snow to stick.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
woke up really early. I couldn't really tell. The lighting outside my place was not very good. I couldn't see any flakes flying at the time. It might have been right in that transition from when it went from rain to snow.
Yeah.
My place, we had a little bit of a break kind of in between. I remember looking on radar scope and seeing some snow off to my west and to my south.
Sure.
But not for me just yet. But I was just looking out and saying like, wow, it is, there's no snow on the grass right now. Also, the roads look wet. Like everything kind of looks wet. So I was thinking it's probably going to be pretty tough for it to stick. But some areas that didn't really see too much in terms of rain got pretty lucky. They got a nice dusting.
Yeah, they did. They got a good coating. The good news is that the air temperatures didn't get super cold because
Right.
if we dove down into the low 20s,
Icy mess. That would have
we
been
could have
not good.
had really bad ice.
Black ice.
Yeah, it would have been bad news. So I'm glad that didn't verify. The snow was fun, but that the chance for the roads and the bridges especially to freeze up was there.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like it was going to happen when we were looking at a forecast yesterday afternoon, last
Right.
night, and it did verify, which we were right, which is good.
Right.
But there was a thought in the back of my mind that I was constantly watching that temperature, just thinking, ooh, because at 11 o'clock it was still in the 40s in a couple of spots.
Yeah.
Well,
We were
also,
struggling to cool down.
You got to think it's the first time of the season that we're dealing with some wintry type of weather too. So for a lot of people, maybe it's out of their mind. We just went through summer and fall, and everybody, you're not thinking of
Sure.
snow just yet. I mean,
Well-
maybe getting excited about it, but
Right.
Yeah,
you're not thinking about the road impacts maybe just yet.
Yeah,
Whereas,
they had some stuff sprayed down.
oh, well, did they really?
Yes, they had some bridges
I
sprayed
didn't
down.
see anything.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they were prepared.
Smart.
Yep.
Yep, it was smart. It was not, some people think, oh, it's a waste. No, it's always good to be safe than sorry in those
Oh,
situations.
100%.
Spray it down.
Yeah.
I do want to show in a little bit here some of those snow potential, radar estimated totals. We'll take a quick break, but before we go to break, I do want to show you this time lapse. That was pretty cool. This is over Town Center in Virginia Beach. So you can see those couple of snow bands. I'll go a little bit slower so you can really see it. There's that snow
there we
coming
go.
in. Couple of quick bands.
Yeah, that's snow.
Yeah, it was around 4 to 5 a.m. is kind of when that happened. And then you can see how quickly it cleared out. Those clouds quickly
Wow.
cleared out. And then look at that sunrise.
Yep,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Lots of sunshine out there. So, yeah, it was cool. I mean, again, we kind of talked about that. If you weren't outside, you may not have known that it really happened. Some areas, obviously, we saw some of those pictures. You saw a little bit of that light dusting on some of those elevated surfaces. But yeah,
Nice.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some of those areas that did see a little bit of some snowfall totals. All right, still talking about the first flakes of the season.
Yeah, that was fun. Fun to get a little
was.
taste of snow. We do not have the official report from Norfolk yet. We'll get that here probably in the next hour or two. But
Right.
we're probably thinking a trace of snow from
Yeah.
Norfolk. I mean,
Oops.
look at that.
I went
Ah!
zoomed in. No, okay, we're gonna start with this one. Yeah, so talking about Norfolk International, Jeremy and I earlier were kind of looking at some of their preliminary reports. Looked like a trace. We can kind of see how spotty it is on our radar estimated. Again, looks like kind of at most maybe 0.2 inches that people saw, which lines up kind of with the pictures that we were looking at.
Yeah, point two
Just
being that,
little
you know,
light
solid,
dusting.
that solid dusting. I
Yeah.
think we were saying there's a dusting and then there's a solid dusting. I'd say there's some areas that saw more of the solid dusting, especially inland towards the Hosky. You know, those places in North Carolina that we even got pictures sent in from. So it was a really cool event.
Yeah, it was nice. And I did some looking back at previous early snow events that we've had in years past, like from the years 1909, 1951, and 1953, where we've had it snow this time of the year in early November, to see how it compares to the rest of winter. Oh, he had the graphic in.
Got the graphic.
Oh, I was
in.
just gonna go off of memory. Nice. I was doing pretty well.
You were doing well.
Yeah, 1951, November 3rd. 1953 is November 6th and 7th. Back to 1909 for November 4th. For those years, the winter didn't amount to much, except in 1909. We did have a decent amount of snow that year, back in 1909. But it doesn't really correlate to anything if you get snow early in the season, meaning that you're going to get a lot of snow that
Right.
winter. So
Yeah.
I just
Right.
wanted to kind of dispel that thought or that rumor. Now, at least, except for 1951, where November 3rd could have been the only time it snowed, every other winter it did end up snowing some more after that first snow event. So do we think we'll have snow later this year? Probably. I think there's a decent chance that we'll see some. I wouldn't say the winter's done because it hasn't even really begun yet.
Hasn't.
No, it
It
hasn't.
We have ways to go.
This is just a tease. This is just like if the waiter brings your water to the table. I feel like,
Yep.
the main meal is you haven't even ordered it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I'd like to see some good snow. I've been living in Savannah the past 2 years, and
Yeah, last winter.
I've
Oh, you
missed
missed
it.
out on
I know.
this
I've missed
past
it.
one.
I completely missed it, and I, you know, my previous
Wouldn't wanna be
experience.
ya.
Nope, my previous experience was 2 years ago. My first winter in Savannah, me and my friends went to Montana for skiing, and that was obviously the best skiing of my life. But since then, like, I haven't seen snow at all. So I'm excited. I'm excited
We'll
for
see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. November 11th, 1987, that was our earliest measurable snow. And this year, so obviously some areas did see what's considered a little bit of measurable snow, but our official recordings are taken at the Norfolk International Airport. And
Yes.
based on our radar estimates, they were right at the edge, but it looks like they were kind of dry. So, and again,
where is the recording station?
right?
Imagine if it's just like 5 feet away from like where.
No, I think it's actually, I believe, well, for the snow, I don't know where the snow is measured for Norfolk International, but I do
I don't know
believe
where that is.
is there a way you can turn off the snow layer or make it transparent,
Yeah.
partially transparent? I believe the ASOS weather sensor is, so below the Norfolk International word, my guess is that it's in that field in the triangle between the old runway
Oh, I
and
see.
runway 523.
Okay.
That runway, the black runway, the darker one is closed down. That runway's gone. But 523, the one we always use for every flight that you've been on going through Norfolk International, I believe the ASOS is around there.
You're saying in this area.
It's not that circular thing, though. It's not that. Or it's
Okay.
farther south of 32 of the runway in that other area. I don't quite know where it is. I've always wondered where the actual sensor is located. Because it's not that, it can't be that close to the runway. It has to be a
No.
good distance because of the air blast.
Right.
Can't have that. So
You'll get wind from coming off the jets.
yeah,
you
so
know?
it's
Yeah.
somewhere there, or it's north on the northern side of the airport or the airfield. I don't quite know, but I've
They're
tried to look for
also-
it when I've
yeah.
been on an airplane on taxi, and I have never really been able to say, "Hey, there it is."
And hopefully it's not near a parking lot either, because you know during the summertime especially, you can kind of get that extra,
the extra
heat,
heat.
from.
Well, I did hear
Concrete.
at one point
Yeah.
that there was gravel put underneath the ASOS
Oh.
sensor, and it's supposed to be over grass.
Yes.
So and it hasn't been an issue the last couple of years, but there was an issue a good 5-10 years ago where the Norfolk Airport would read really high on a hot summer day.
But that's misleading because...
And we would use, and National Weather Service would pull other
Yeah.
co-op observers from near there to figure
Yeah.
out what the high was that day, because you can't be pulling 5 degrees warmer at Norfolk because
No.
of some gravel that was
Because it's
installed.
gravel, or
Right.
you're near a parking lot,
Right.
and obviously in the summertime that sun is heating up the asphalt.
Yeah, I was gonna
And-
say I was gonna throw some grass seed when I'm on a plane,
Yeah.
so it could grow underneath where the
Grow
gravel
right
is.
under, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, either way, I mean, those areas that you were talking about, they're not quite in that shaded area. So we'll have to wait and see. They do come out with that later today into tonight of the official
What is it, 5
reports.
p.m.?
Yeah, that's when they put
Round.
out their first, like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess technically like unofficial reading. The official
Right.
one comes out a little bit later. But yeah, should know around 5 p.m. kind of what they said. But looking at the hourly reports, looks like I think they're only going to say a trace.
Trace.
Yeah.
I think what we should do for a future episode is we should talk about siting a weather station, because we kind of just touched on it there. The location of where it needs to go, how far away from tall objects.
There
for the
is, yeah, because
anemometer.
there is
Yeah.
There's
there is a
rules.
lot of rules to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we
It's
could do that.
very specific, and the way that you record, if you're doing it by hand, recording data, there's a specific way to do that too.
I would say let's probably do that maybe around week after Christmas or early January, because a lot of people get weather stations for Christmas.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
it'd be a good appropriate
Oh,
Learn
time.
how
yeah,
to
that's a good
properly set
idea.
them up.
Yep.
I used to have a home weather station too, and
Yep.
that was always so much. I loved that thing. We set it up on my outdoor. We set up the wind stuff, the anemometer and the wind vane. We
Yeah.
set that up on my shed outside.
Yeah.
It was a little bit elevated.
Yep.
But it's just so we can get something that's away from the house, and
Yep.
something that's open enough that it can record. Not something that's blocked by a tree or by a side of the house or something.
Right.
But there are a lot of rules, but it's really fun if you end up getting weather observing equipment for Christmas. It's really cool to kind of learn about where is the proper place to set it up,
Yeah.
and then connect it to an app on your phone, and you just have the weather conditions for wherever you set it up at all times.
Yeah, I did that when I worked and lived in Minneapolis. I did a story on that. I got a weather station from the store off the shelf and said, "Hey, let's figure out how to install
Yeah.
it." It was fun, but we'll
cool.
save those stories for the time.
We'll save
we do
that. We'll save that.
save
that for
That
next
is to
time.
come.
No, that is a good idea. It would be a really interesting episode because there's
Yep.
a lot that goes into it.
Yep.
And great idea. I didn't think about that. People getting those gifts for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great one. Or we can do
Yeah.
it before, too. I don't know how our schedule will be like, but maybe before, because that week
Yeah.
after, we're all like, who's even working? So,
Right. December's a crazy month
don't
with
even know.
schedules.
Yeah, I don't even know. So,
Exactly. Well, do we want to take a quick break or do you want to go into the history stuff now?
I want to take a break.
Okay. We'll go into.
See you guys later.
Yeah. Jeff says he needs a break. So
Yeah.
we're going to
No, we actually, not to joking aside, no, we actually have some really cool history we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
50 years ago yesterday, something really amazing or important happened that I want everyone to know about. So we're going to talk about that.
All right, so Jeff has some interesting facts for us.
Yeah, so we're going back 50 years ago yesterday, November 10th, 1975, Lake Superior. That's where the Edmund Fitzgerald sank. The wreck of that happened from a huge storm that formed over the Great Lakes, and specifically that area of low pressure went over spots in Lake Superior. So here's a surface map from that morning. And if you're not too familiar with surface maps, let's go through some of the things that we're looking at. So the big L, that's the area of low pressure. That's the center. The black lines are the isobars, the areas of constant pressure. The wind will go around those in a counterclockwise fashion, and I think my hand on the screen is going clockwise.
It is.
So it'll go around the storm, and I just realized that. So it'll go in a counterclockwise fashion.
There we go.
Around the storm. So coming up from Lake Michigan is where the wind is coming from.
Yeah.
And then
A
towards...
south wind.
Yeah, south wind. And
South
then
to north.
from Thunder Bay and from Duluth and towards Minnesota, the wind is screaming in and out of the north. So we can see how the wind is circulating around. We have an occluded front. So this area of low pressure was already starting to break away from the warm front and the cold front, but it was still getting stronger, and it still had some powerful winds. So in the morning, that was the location of it. By the end of the day, the storm, the low pressure center, was on the north side of Lake Superior. So it had very powerful winds with it. You can see the inland weather sensors from areas in Wisconsin were coming in at around 20 knots, Duluth around 15 to 20 knots, not too extreme. Thunder Bay, which is north of Grand Marais on the north shore of Minnesota towards the Canadian border right on the lake, that had northerly winds at 20 knots. The gusts were even stronger than that, but when we look at the wind as the storm moved over the lake, go to the next part right there, you can see the wind was estimated to be around 40 to 50 mile an hour for the eastern side of the lake. The blue X on the screen is where they believe the wreck happened. The waves were around 25 to 26 feet, and the wind speed was around gusting up to 75 miles an hour.
On the open waters of Lake Superior.
Yeah,
likely.
and you almost said ocean. It basically is at that point.
I almost said ocean
Yeah.
because
It's huge. This is
Wow.
bigger in terms of width in that area, north to south, than Chesapeake Bay. So this is big. This is not some lake. This is
some
huge.
surf can get really kicked up on Lake Superior. I mean,
Yes.
you see people I see pictures and video of people surfing near Duluth, actually,
Stony Point.
Stony Point all
Yep,
the time.
that's the spot.
There's actually a little surf community there. There's always waves, but this storm in particular, like pretty much the equivalent of almost a strong tropical storm to a low-end Cat 1 hurricane.
Right.
With these kind of winds.
So what was this ship doing? Well, this is a taconite ore carrier. This carries that material from Superior, Wisconsin, which is near Duluth, Minnesota. So the left side of the lake, that corner there, that's where Duluth is. Can you rewind the graphic, go all the way back to the beginning, just so we can look at the, zoom in so we can see the ship. So right there. Okay, so the pause points are kind of close. So see where the yellow interstate on the left side of the map meets the water? That's where Duluth is. On Wisconsin side is Superior. There are two communities that are just separated by the St. Louis River by a bridge. So that's where the ship came from. It went through that area out through the lake, and then we saw that point where the wreck was believed to happen on the other side of the lake. These carry taconite. That taconite is coming from the Iron Range, so from north central Minnesota. Can you zoom out the map? Sorry, I'm telling you to do all these things. Zoom it out all the way. So that's perfect. So it's kind of hard because I didn't set up the map correctly to talk about this, but north of Duluth, between there and International Falls, is the Iron Range. So communities like Hibbing, communities named Ely, communities named not Grand Marais, but Grand Portage, and also spots near Grand Rapids, rather, and also I'm thinking the last one, Virginia. Not the state, but there's a town called Virginia.
Virginia, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yes, in Minnesota. And those are areas where a lot of iron ore mining was done back in the day in the 70s, 80s. The iron ore ran out. Now it became a taconite object that gets used to create the ore. I don't know the science of that specifically, but it's not the iron ore. It's now a taconite product that they're getting out of the earth.
And they're shipping.
Yes, and they're shipping through the Great Lakes and wherever it needs to go to. And that's the spot for Minnesota where the taconite gets picked up. It's picked up there and then sent out to wherever it needs to go on its long destination.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that. I've heard about the wreck, but I didn't know all of the history behind
There's
that.
a lot of wrecks in Lake Superior now.
Yeah, because you get some big storms.
Big storms.
You can get some big storms there. There's a whole museum dedicated to all the shipwrecks that have happened in Superior and the Great Lakes.
The storms have a much better tendency to produce large surf on Lake Superior than any other Great Lake.
Right.
There's just the way that the lake is. It can multiple different wind directions can create surf and high seas. On that Great Lake. So
And the Great Lakes can freeze over too.
they can.
It takes a lot of.
It takes a long, a little
It's
while.
a long time. Yeah, it doesn't happen in January.
Yeah.
It takes longer than that. Usually February
You
and
need
into
a
March.
very cold, February into March, and it needs to stay that way. You can't have any thawing, really.
Yeah.
Especially Lake Superior.
Yeah, and January really needs to be cold. You need to get those 30 below nights and 20 below nights to really get that water temperature to cool down.
That's cold.
Which is crazy to say, but they get it.
Oh yeah,
They get it.
I've been there in January on the North Shore, so north of Duluth. The North Shore is the Duluth to Grand Marais. It's that shoreline.
Yeah.
It's just that's what they call it. I've been there, and we're almost out of time. And the lake is still liquid.
Yeah.
It's not frozen, so it just steams like crazy.
That's crazy.
20
That's
below,
cool.
it's just total fog. and
I've
steam.
seen
Interesting.
pictures. It looks incredible.
It's wild.
That is crazy.
So that's a little look back at the Edmund Fitzgerald. Wanted to give everyone a little history lesson on that. Weather for
Nice.
the next couple of days should be okay.
It's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
We'll have more on that though at 4 o'clock.
Sounds good.
I'll see you all
Here's
there.
a quick
There's
little-
there's a 7-day.
Yeah.
Look, it's quiet, and we'll take it.
And
Sounds
it's
good.
cold today, but then we get warmer. See you later.